Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Trophy live stream. This is brought to us by trophi.ai, and we are very fortunate today to have, get the cameras. We're very fortunate today to have people from data science here. So we've got Rob and Scott, who are both integral to this team, integral to getting things working. And let me get the cameras adjusted a little better here. Hello. So why don't you guys, I could introduce you, but you guys are going to do a much better job of introducing yourselves. So I wish I was a better interviewer, but please, Scott, why don't we start with you? We talk about your general role at Trophy, and then Rob, we'll go to you.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Scott. I'm on the data science team, although in the past here I've done a number of things, everything from product roles to also more like in the software engineering side of things. A lot of the initial product for Rocket League was kind of concepts that I either built or helped work on or things like that. And obviously it's a whole team, it's a teamwork thing, but very heavily involved in a lot of the work that was done on our Rocket League product, pretty much since its inception. And at this point, I'm still on the data science team, but I'm more of I've taken a little bit of step back from the coding side and done a little bit more of the product or leadership side, but I'm still very much in tune with what's going on here. And we're excited to show a few things off today.
The startup mode, you're transitioning to the amorphous every role.
Exactly.
Role.
Is there a hole that needs filling somewhere? I'll run over there.
Yes. I've seen it in action. And Rob, tell us about yourself.
Yes. My name's Rob. I'm also on the data science team. Unlike Scott, I was still a little busy working on racing in Mansell, so I got to reap the rewards of coming in, as Rocket League goes across the finish line and patting myself on the back after doing approximately 30 days worth of work on it.
Yes, I wouldn't say that's the finish line,
but yeah, I'm still supporting it now, working on some cool new ventures, some of which we're going to talk about today.
Yes, very exciting.
Forward to it. Sure.
Spoiler alert. Burr, burr, burr. And in the context of completedness, Sean, do you want to give yourself a little intro here?
Yeah.
Yep. Most of you probably know me, but so at this point, Sean Feeney, and community coordinator at Trophy, and kind of more focused on a lot of the content creation for social media type work in the background, as well as communicating with everybody and providing product ideas and annoying these two that are that are here today with new
That's
ideas.
what we do. Yeah, that's our job. We're annoying to people within Trophy and then in external sources as well. I spent all this week DMing mods of various Discord servers. So that is my role in a nutshell. And then I too periodically will bother Scott with some ideas that I have.
Well, I mean, in the spirit of completion here, I want to thank both of you for all the work that you've done here and today and previously. You've done an awesome job. So from the Trophy team,
yes,
we can say that we're really happy with how things have been going. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I think so. And I will say, for people who don't know, they don't see the inside. Trophy is a group of people who are like passionate about building. It feels like building something that's going to be useful to people. So I know someone who works at a larger company, T-Mobile, and I don't think they have the same kind of spirit of collaboration at larger enterprise places as we do at Trophy, which is common among startups. But I think it bears stating that how inclusive the whole thing feels. Idea sharing feels very available, which is not always true. I've been places where that's not the case. So, and that definitely comes from you guys. So and Kyle and everyone. Mike and David.
Yeah, really open to access. Everyone's pretty open to ideas and just being hearing what you have to say and taking it into having a conversation and exploring.
Yeah, it's really a lot of. I mean, it's like anywhere you have all these ideas, you'd love to do them all, and generally you're limited by manpower. Yes. You're not usually limited by scope of ideas. If anything, it's limited by how can we make this big idea into something that we can get people using as soon as possible and enjoying and learn from it.
There's so many ideas.
In the app. many of them on both racing and especially in Rocket League, just started as like, I'd like to see this because it would be cool.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, yeah, go ahead, build it. You know, and you're like, look, I built like a mini game where I can run around and collect points and stuff like Tony Hawk. And you're like, yep, we're working on that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
That sounds good. That is interesting. So it does seem like Rocket League came about that way, where it's like people who were actively going through the process of training and like understanding how to get good at Rocket League, and it manifested with our offering of a desktop application, which is actually training, and then we have the web stats, which is more common. You know, a bunch of games have stats, but it does seem like that idea of following is what has happened. With racing, what was that like? I don't know how early were you guys here for? I was here for the racing side at all, obviously. In fact, I was here for the very tail end of the Rocket League part. But as best as you can tell, or from the beginning of your understanding, what was it like developing the racing thing? How does that compare to what it was like developing the Rocket League side? And whoever wants to take it.
Yeah, I can take it. You can take it.
I mean, we spent an equal amount of time on racing. We started same week.
Similar.
Was it the
Same week.
Probably the same day. Yeah.
Might have been the same day.
Yeah.
May 15th.
But you go ahead, because you did a lot of work on the analytics. Which is really cool.
A lot of the analytics are my work. But when I joined Trophy in May of 2023, wow. Yeah, I feel like, that seems like a long time for me, or it simultaneously feels like nothing and a lot. But when I joined, there was how many people? 5, maybe, in the company? Maybe 5.
Early.
Yeah, it was really early, and there was a product. I mean, we had technically a version of the Unity app, and we had analytics that were run, but they were quite, compared to what we do now, they were pretty, I hesitate to use the word rudimentary, but it was just essentially we took reference laps and we took user laps, and we just very much compared the numbers and gave you the telemetry and a little bit of coaching. And we offered a university program, like not a literal university. It was like the Driver 61 University. And provided more of a lesson-based approach there. But what really got people into it was that university. We also had some mini games, like breaking mini games. We had a little asteroids game that you can still find in the app, and some things like that. And then some practice tools that you could work on while you were looking at the telemetry. And what some of the racing people really liked was they could review their lap along with a video of someone doing that lap with their telemetry at the same time. So when they were reviewing what they might have done right or wrong, usually wrong, just because that's what we were focusing on. It's easier to find mistakes than like really good parts. So we went with the mistakes and showed, okay, you lost, 2 seconds of time just on this corner because of your really inappropriate braking, or maybe you were really late coming out of the corner on the throttle, that kind of thing. And we would be able to show a video of an expert actually doing it correctly. And yeah, people really dug that. And so we just kept building out analytics. We got more and more complicated. It went from just like, when do you go on the throttle, to like, are you oversteering or understeering, which is like a little more of a subtle and more complicated thing to determine. And just kind of kept adding to our toolkit of ways to analyze someone's lap. And eventually we kind of had this breakthrough in that we tried to incorporate LLMs in a way that wasn't, smashing you over the head with anything, or forcing you to interact with the AI, but adding a layer of real-time coaching. So the idea of having an LLM, or Mansell, which it was eventually named, it was originally just voice coach? Callouts. Yeah. It eventually got a name for because Scott Mansell is one of the co-founders of the company.
Yes.
And that took off, and people really did like, and still do very much like, having that real-time aspect as opposed to just after the fact. And so when we ended up going into Rocket League, exploring that, we started with a really strong focus on what can we do in the moment? Like, how can we make a coaching that will work similar to the racing Mansell idea, or you're on the track and you're getting real-time information. How can we make that a reality when psionics won't let us do real-time stuff?
Yes.
So that's why for anyone who's used the product, we have kind of a Rocket League version of the app that you launch. And it's not the actual, I guess, your standard Rocket League launch process, because then we can start putting things on the screen and doing coaching that way and actually processing the data real time to give you AI assisted coaching.
That is crazy. I didn't know. I suppose I could have thought about it, but that's a pretty winding. So where we are at feels, well, I don't know what sort of machine learning stuff we had during that process that you just described. So I'm sure
So for the Rocket League one specifically, one of the first really, honestly don't remember the very, very first thing we did, but one of the very early things when we were like, oh shit, I think we got something here, was when we did a bunch of machine learning on and labeled data on the half flip. We started with half flip.
Oh, sure.
We're like, can we make something that can essentially watch someone try to learn this thing and support them through it step by step, real time? Like you stop, you did not cancel, you backflipped, you didn't flip cancel. How do you cancel? Like, and tell them it's a little early or a little late on the flip cancel itself, and trying to get that across. And then and that actually took a long time to set up because we involved coaches and there's all these labeled training data, and we weren't collecting replays or anything at that time. But it started with that concept, and then we tried to grow that real-time coaching in different ways. Some were more successful than others. Some were more scalable than others.
Sure.
But that was where it started, is that half flip thing. And then now we have a whole app out of it, of games, of other types of real-time coaching in the form of the training paths. It all kind of stemmed from that concept of trying to provide as much value real time as possible.
That's pretty amazing, to be honest. Well, the data labeling in and of itself, I would call it like inherently unscalable, right? It's just like, there's a reason there's a company called Scale AI who provides that type of information because it's insane. I know, Scott, you and I have talked about a little bit one-on-one about what that process might look like, where there's like notating down in the replay or this specific point in time or whatever. Rob, I would love to hear your perspective on this too. What has the process been like for you? I love the call out of like, these are the kind of things that we tried, and here's stuff that might require a little more effort from us, and then stuff that's a little easier wins. For example, like statistical analysis can be an easy win because of the parser, right, that looks at replays. So Rob, I would love your take on this.
Yeah, actually something popped in my head when you were talking about like throwing out more analytics and stuff, and I guess because some of them are like building on each other. So I'm fairly certain that there are analytics in racing and almost certainly Rocket League that are not surfaced.
Yes.
Like excessive lateral G force on the inside, blah, we calculated it. We might use it to derive some other things, but giving it to people doesn't serve any purpose. So there's a lot of stuff that you can pull out. And it's the same with racing with Mansell. Like when someone rounds a corner, the process of what to say is you have to whittle down so much stuff, both in terms of the actual data that you choose to look at, by which I mean sort of pass to the LLM, the amount of data or the amount of time that you have to speak to them. Right? I think I said this in the video that we posted on our channel, right? But like generally don't want to go for more than like 5 seconds. Of speaking advice. When someone's playing a game, if I sit you down and try to speak a paragraph of coaching at you while you're in the middle of a game, it's just you're gonna tune out.
There is a reason why people keep asking us to let them skip the Mansell intro in Rocket League. We've heard them. It's just a matter of.
It's interesting, the like cognitive load aspects, right? Like, I don't know if you've read, there's a book that I read called Thinking Fast and Slow, where they talk about like pupil dilating when you're in hypercognitive, and then they can tell when someone stopped trying to mentally solve a problem or they just gave up because the pupil literally shrinks. So that just shows how engaged your body is, especially sim racing is like pretty crazy. You are, especially if you have like a VR headset on or something, you are in the zone trying, and then if you had motion as well, that would be even crazier. Your brain is fully engaged. Rocket League's the same way. Full body, man. It's crazy.
So it explained to me is, you don't really want someone telling you what you did wrong when you're trying not to die in a car.
Yes. Yeah. And it's real life car racing, I'm sure, is even crazier with that. Like so there's these great, F1 videos where it's Max Verstappen telling his like engineer to just stop talking to him or something or whatever. Or like, Lewis Hamilton just like endlessly annoyed when any new piece of info comes in. And it's because they're literally like turning every knob on the steering wheel, like feeling the car, like they're paying attention to all these things. And so it makes sense. You don't want to hear anything when you're focusing. And I think actually it changes performance for people, right? Like if they hear something, they're going to be more worried about making mistakes than they are about successfully executing whatever. Whether or not they do that thing successfully is different, but it changes
Context is important. Context is important there because for racing, and I suppose Rocket League, it depends on what they went in to do. If they're just going in to do a race and just have a good time and get a little bit faster, you don't want to, barrage them, like give them a barrage of feedback, like maybe just a few things, right?
Yeah.
But if they are there intending to like really dig in and they're really focusing on the mistakes, they might have a little more mental capacity to be like, all right, what are they saying? I'm going to stop on the side of the track. I'm going to listen. I'm going to move on. But getting it right without having a racer in that case tell you, and making assumptions is usually not a great thing, but we also want to remove as many barriers to entry as possible. Like you want to get them on the track just doing the regular thing and we enhance it, but sometimes you don't always get it right when you're trying to enhance it, so we try to take in feedback when we can and improve it over time.
I mean, is it even possible? Is it possible to get 100% right? I don't know, because even in
what is 100%?
Yeah.
And what is 100% for me versus you? Like we have different intention.
Yeah.
So no, but you try to please who you can, right?
Yeah.
So related to Rocket League, it's the same reason why when some people go into the analysis web app, they see in certain situations a wall of stats that they're not sure how to process. Like that's a similar feeling. You went there to try and get a quick win, like you'd want a quick win on the racetrack. But you're in this analysis page that might give you more than you asked for. So always trying to work on that. But like I said before, small team doing big things. Not everything gets fixed at the same time. Not to make excuses, but that's my excuse.
I think it's really interesting that this happens so often at Trophy, right? Like we're here on the data science team, and yet we're basically talking like pedagogy, right?
Yes.
And like psychology, because really pulling out a lot of data and doing stuff with data it's what we do, but it's like if you can't present it, you can't work it the right way. And we come across that so much more. It's like you were saying with the half flip thing, right? Like you didn't make a half flip detector. You made a half flip mistake detector. One of the 9 things that it can spit out is you did it or you didn't. But it can also say you did this wrong, you did that, and
So we didn't
data
train.
science team wouldn't have to do that.
That's such a very good point. So before we, you might want to move on to another topic, but just to nerd out on that half flip and the coaching aspect, which I think I don't want to give away too many of our secrets, but it's not just a model really, because it is pretty easy to recognize a half flip. In fact, I could probably do it just by using basic. Like a basic analytic where I just compare data points. And I'd probably get a pretty high aspect of data, like pretty high probability of getting it right. And I could probably tell someone, nice half flip, or you did a half flip, probably. But it would be much different and more difficult to explain to them what exactly they did wrong. And that's kind of what you want. You want to know what they did wrong so you can tell them how to fix it. Because that's what people want. People know when they make a mistake. If someone spins out on a racetrack or if someone, lands on their back in Rocket League, like they kind of know that.
Yep.
But they might not know how to fix it. Right.
Yep.
So we try to dig down on that, which is why we have, some of our things are less scalable, but the heart is there trying to get it right and provide guidance as much as we can. And I think we are getting better at that. It feels like it to me anyway. The team is getting a better sense of knowledge about it, I think.
Yeah, as we learn more as a team, you know what I mean? Same thing's going to be true with whatever we do in the future. It's just a knowledge acquisition. And then I think actually as you get better, each title that we're processing I think we're getting better each time at getting to the heart of the issues quicker, like what people are going to want. In interviews I've had recently, the things that people value in those interviews are similar to what people are valuing in Rocket League. It's like, I want simple info, and similar in racing, right? I just want information provided in an easy to digest way. I don't need a bunch of stats. Now, that being said, there are times when diving deep into the data is useful. Like if you're, let's say I'm a super high performing team, and this isn't really true in Rocket League, but I imagine in sim racing it is. Eventually you're going to want to optimize heavily and like really get granular views of specific pieces of data. So braking obviously would be one thing where you really want to make, I think, I'm not a super expert in sim racing, but braking up would be a thing, how you're progressing through a turn. These are things that are endlessly optimizable, I feel. In Rocket League, the same thing is going to be true. How can I get more power on the ball? And that's a thing I don't think people have fully maximized yet anyway. And so I think as we go on, we're going to get better and better about recognizing those things, because it becomes clear. You're kind of eliminating the confounding factors, I suppose, or the correlated things that don't necessarily matter, and getting to the heart of things that actually do matter. So, and I think, I think we're getting closer and closer each time. It's crazy. The conversations keep getting sharper. I don't know what it's like on the data science side. I'm sure you guys have even crazier like data analysis types of conversations, but it feels from an outside outside to that, feels like that.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I know we've put a big push on, not that we weren't doing it before, but just trying to talk to as many people as we can, as early as we can. Because I think for the Rocket League product, we had a bunch of coaches that we worked with early on, and then we did our thing for a while, and then we brought coaches back in, and we kind of realized we should really have coaches on board the entire process, as much as possible. Because then we can be as much aligned with the way that people might want to be coached as possible. So yeah, we're definitely learning all the time, what works, what doesn't work so well.
I think there's intrinsic reward too. For me, it's really rewarding getting to interact with community members who are passionate about anything in life. Honestly, if someone's super excited about something and you can share in that excitement with them, that's kind of one of the best things. You get to have this communal thing, and then you get to share knowledge. And then I think having a collaborative building process, which is what it feels like with the coaches, where they're sharing stuff, they give feedback, and that feedback is directly integrated, in the form of CMS packs or whatever, however it comes across, or like direct act criticism. So I don't know if how much of that you guys get to do. Hopefully it's some, but community interaction is like a really nice thing. It sucks sometimes when people are pissed at you, obviously, but that's just part of the deal. I don't know. Yeah.
That's the worst part. I mean, to state the obvious, it can be difficult when you make something that you're really excited about how it's going to impact people in a positive way. And people just, they don't give you the positive response that you're hoping for. They find all the ways that it is horrible, or like the worst thing ever. Never gonna,
The company has AI in its name, so we gotta have pretty thick skin.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. 2025. It's the year of hating on UI or on AI. Sorry,
both to be real, UI and
we can hit on both. Yeah.
It's just a fun time. Yeah, it's fine. That's kind of how it goes. Same thing's happening in like, what would you call it? Machine learning generated music. So there was this period, I don't know if you guys have looked at Suno, but people were super hyped on it. And now like there's this kind of backlash as the corporate interests are taking over, which naturally happens. So it's just the way people are. So, okay. I think if there's any other background stuff we can talk about, otherwise we can move to the demo presentation if you guys want. What do you think?
Sure.
Do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Let's see. Ready.
Get hyped.
Let's do this.
Get hyped. Yes, behind the scenes.
We can give you a little peek behind the curtain of what we've been working on.
Yes.
One of many things that we've been working on, but this one is of particular interest to us because it's kind of our concept and we've worked a lot on this. And this would be, well, it just looks like a chart right now, but this is what we've internally called the hype meter, but it's a way of, it's more of a scoring pressure gauge, I suppose. So what that means is from the start of a match to the end. So you can see here, I know it's probably a little small on your screen, but there's a timeline in the bottom in seconds. Again, this is an internal tool. I'm just going to explain the basics. And it'll tell you based on from the start of the game to the end. So for example, I'll take between the first couple goals here. This is the start. There's a goal right here. Something happened. And about 60 seconds in, there was another goal. This is essentially the pressure that the team had applied throughout the course of that round.
Oh.
So without seeing the game, we can see that it was pretty much like boring, not a lot happening, probably a little bit of kickoff stuff, and maybe there's a little bit of a fight for the ball. But then Orange, there's a bit more scoring pressure, which means they probably pushed it towards Blue a bit more. They had a bit more of a battle. They might have had a shot. I can add in demos and saves here. There actually wasn't a lot going on, so it's kind of maybe a bit of a boring round. There was potentially a shot happening here. Blue had a little bit of a chance to take it into their hands and pressure the Orange team, but then the Orange team took it away and they got a goal. Amazing. So we have a pretty sweet model made now where we can do this on pretty much any game. And so this is just a game that we kind of took at random, and I actually have not reviewed the match itself, but we thought it would be cool if we did review the match and saw with the replay of the game if the chart is doing what we hope it actually is in real time.
I love that. There's a question in here.
We probably should have tested it. But
all good that we're doing it live. Someone had a question. What is the spike after the goal before we get into this replay?
So yes, please do. Yeah.
This is really fun. You won't see it in the little visualizer that I've cooked up because I've accounted for it. But behind the scenes in Rocket League, after you get a goal, you don't get teleported to, I don't know if this is like common community knowledge or not, but you don't get teleported to the next kickoff location. You kind of just float there. And sometimes your car will be placed in random positions. So if you go look into the replay file, which is what this is doing, this is a machine learning model that's looking directly at the statistics from a replay file. So after the goal happens, people and the ball start moving around, and it just kind of goes nuts because it's completely invalidated.
Well, I mean, you can think
really in a real environment to kind of just like smash together, probably in some virtual background.
You know what it's like in Rocket League. You get a goal and
everything blows up.
Yeah.
Oh, but it's not even that. It's like while the replay and stuff is like people are jumping around, they're teleporting.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
so the meter freaks out.
Yeah. So that's a great question, and I wouldn't have covered it because I've seen these charts a few times now. But yeah, essentially, this is, in a sense, we can call it noise.
Yep.
But you can see that you can call it a bit of a peak here. The numbers.
Oh, they can't see that anymore.
Oh, they can't see. Oh, yeah. We'll switch back. Yeah, you can see there's a bit of a peak here. That's where the goal was. And then this peak after the goal is the noise. But we can see, and I'll show you this in a second, at time 18 seconds, the scoring pressure for the Orange team, because you can see we're in the orange part of this chart. Again, this is internal purposes, but sharing a little sneak peek. The scoring pressure at this point is about 16%. So what that means is from that position, there's about a 16% chance that the Orange team can get a goal. But at this point here, you can see that they had a chance, about a 50% chance or a 50% scoring pressure for the Orange team. That means they probably could have scored a goal there and they probably messed it up. So Blue probably ruined their chances or they whiffed it or something. So we'll watch that and see what happens. So from 18 seconds, isn't it cool? It's cool, isn't it?
I love it.
So from 18 seconds to about 20 seconds, so only 2 seconds is a very short round, we can see that something happened and then they quickly capitalized again, and at about 21 seconds they win. So
we switch back over.
We'll switch back over.
You can see the meter at the top of the screen. It's not the same color and stuff, but hopefully that's enough so you can get a bit of a reference of it.
Yeah, I think you got the control. Do you remember the zoom in controls on
mouse up or hold control and drag?
We'll just play it and see. So resume. So
should be
this
here.
The start should.
Yes. Okay.
Right. So pressure. if we rewind a little bit, I'm going to rewind it back to the start, and just I'm going to put it in slow motion. And see if we can match up what's going on at that peak. Now, maybe it'll be great and wonderful, and maybe it won't. But this is what the science is for.
Oh,
Don't mind that.
seek what all the way to the very end.
Okay.
Changing the speed messes with your positioning.
Yes,
I'll stop it.
Okay.
Stop it and start it again.
So just so I'm clear on what we're seeing, are you controlling the game through some sort of like playback scrubbing system external to whatever the replay system is? Nice.
Reviewing these notes.
I love that.
So I'm just moving it. Yeah. Let me slow it down. Right now, we don't seem to have any hype information for this section. I'm not sure why, but
it is ambiguous. Like a coach wouldn't really pick, there would be some threat, but not a ton, right?
Right. Yeah. And then at around this point here,
Feeling
you can
good.
see it's feeling good. And that's probably because this orange, the orange player closer to the net, probably could have scored it from there, but they didn't. But they popped it up and they actually passed it. And now at this point, it's like, oh, definitely.
Yeah.
We're getting it in there. So you can see based on this graph, the first teammate could have scored. They actually passed it. It was going away from the goal, so less likely to score. The other teammate popped that back up towards the goal, and then they did get the goal in. And this is pretty rudimentary in the sense that we don't have the touches and the bumps and everything, but the intention is to add those things in.
So this is today. This is confidence, right, on the side there. So 0 to 1 is the confidence, or what's the scale here on the Y?
Essentially, it's like a probability.
Got it.
More or less. There's a bit of normalization, but essentially, it's how confident, yes, we are that they're going to score. So,
See that?
Yeah, one of the interesting things here is you see, you've got this whole thing here. I'll zoom in. This is a pretty long round that looks like it had a battle, right?
Yep.
Without even watching it, without watching the replay, you can see that there was a lot of orange pressure and then a battle and then a back and forth and back and forth.
Yes.
Then it looks like blue had a huge amount of the pressure, but orange still got the goal.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch this one and see what happens.
Starting 1 minute in.
Is it 1 minute in?
60,
Okay.
yeah.
So I'm not sure how to scrub this thing.
It's like somebody pinched it into the goal from the opposite side and got lucky.
We've all been there.
Can't talk too much about like the inner workings of it, but this is not like this is a fairly complex machine learning model. This is not just like a couple of if statements, mixed up.
It's not just how close is the ball to the net.
Sometimes it can look like that, but sometimes there have been moments where I think like why isn't the hype meter doing this, and then someone like there's a defender in the way, so we're not going to get hyped because you have a breakaway, right? Like it's smarter than me.
Sure, yeah.
I'm going to
scrub it.
I got to re-scrub it.
Yeah, changing it.
So what I'm going to try to do is see if I can zoom in at least on.
I think if you hold control and
scroll.
This is really dope. I know I said it already, but I love this. I love what I'm seeing.
I'm always amazed by the tools that they created in the background to help them do their work. It's almost like
you don't usually show it off to this amount of detail because it's very much R&D. But from here, 60 seconds. I'll bring this one up again so you can see. From 60 seconds to about 220 or so is the way that I've split this up. It's a long round. But I mean, I think it'll be more interesting to watch by looking at the meter at the top and then seeing what's happening in the round. And I'll play it at real time. If we're interested enough to watch it again, we will. Yeah. So without further ado, so I'll narrate it a little bit. Here we should see a little bit of orange pressure off the beginning, but now it's still pretty neutral. Blue will start to have a little more chance of applying pressure here, but orange is taking it back right now. Orange is now more likely to score and actually very likely to score in this area, but they lost the opportunity, gone back to nothing. Orange is going to come back around and they should score, but they didn't.
That's close.
And now we've got, orange is going to try to capitalize again. They have another bit of a peak here and they lost it. Blue is now in the advantage. Blue is now applying pressure. Nope.
Not too much.
Orange is popping it back, and now orange is going to have a big breakaway. They should definitely be able to get a score here, and blue knocked it back.
Yeah.
right?
So
Something else.
at 100, that's very interesting. So initially I was like, does this have to do with ball position on the field? But no, 100, we're semi near the goal for one of the teams, but the threat isn't super high. And the other thing I'm noticing is
other teammates are, because the other players are further away and stuff, right?
Yeah, so this is a deeper indication that we're not just doing ball position on the field. It's not just some simple thing. Again, not if statements. This is a actual, what is the threat here?
Yeah.
And where infamously Rocket League stats in Rocket League, just the base ones that players are served are, they're not really reliable to get a picture, but this is a much more reliable shot indicator for a shot like record of what happened in the match. Pressure record, obviously, but it's like what was actually a shot versus what is just, a touch near the net. This is very interesting.
Definitely. And again, this chart that you're looking at on this screen right now will never see the light of day. Not in this. It won't look like this. It'll look nicer if we ever get it out, which I hope we will.
Yeah.
And the idea is that it'll be annotated with the most interesting things, like, of course, goals, probably demos, saves, maybe touches, maybe bumps, whatever we think is useful. And ideally, all sorts of other cool things that we're working on in the background.
Amazing.
So I'm going to replay at slower speed from 100 seconds, just so we can really see like how the pace of the game is changing. And I will apologize. I'm not changing the player view very much because I'm just juggling a couple of different things, but we can get the gist. So let me move it to the right spot here. Yeah, about here. So if you watch the meter, blue at this point should have some pressure on them, but it's still, it's low pressure for both teams. But now blue has the most likelihood to score at this point, but they start losing it here because orange is putting more. Now, blue does get a little bit of a chance here, but they're going to lose it very quickly. And now orange, like I said before, should definitely be able to get a goal off of this kind of breakaway. Unfortunately,
nice save.
Blue knocked it away. So I think I might have said blue. Orange is the one who should have gotten the goal there, but blue knocked it up. I'll bring it back up to speed because the round's quite long, but bear with me. I'm learning this tool now, this little internal tool we got.
Doing great.
Let's see what else happens. So I'll stop talking and see if you can look at it for yourself for a couple minutes, seconds.
I am generally agreeing with the model's analysis here.
So look ahead now. Blue is about to do something. Blue is about to do something legendary.
But not.
Commit. Get it in.
Oh my God.
This game has a lot of off the crossbars.
Yes, it is.
Saved.
That one wasn't nearly as, I guess, because there was someone in it.
So you can see blue.
Good pressure from them.
Blue is just pressuring so hard in different times. And they really should be closing the deal, but they're not. Blue here.
Oh,
look how many lifts they got. They're just hitting it off the crossbar.
It's painful.
I know. It's like, I feel like you've been there, right? Yes. I've definitely been there.
Yes.
There
we go.
This is a completely random game that we just pulled out. I have no idea who these people are. They have no relation to Trophy or anything like that. It's game number 12,005 in our database or whatever.
And we haven't seen it, but we can detail what happened in the match in broad terms by the pressure. So here we see there was a save, and then at the end, I didn't even notice this because the blue blended in. But blue actually got a goal here, good. Followed by this massive spike of noise, and then it just resets. So you can see, based on this meter, that there's a lot of interest.
Yes.
Get the narrative of the game from it.
Yeah.
Because it's data, that means now we can start pulling stuff out of it.
Yeah. It's interesting. At 275, there is a goal there, but you can see the threat isn't super. 275. Yes. So, 270
over here.
Yeah. There was a goal there, but you can see the threat wasn't super high or whatever. I don't know what you have the label there on the graph, but it wasn't super.
That's a goal. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's because he was shooting from far, but this is the way I would have looked at it in game too. Oh, that's not in. We're safe. Meanwhile, we don't rotate fast enough and we don't save the ball. So it is very interesting. It like matches what I would think in the moment of the game, right?
The psychology.
Well, often too, like the model gets surprised in the same way you do.
Yeah.
So if there's a real obvious like save, slow ball going towards the net, there's a guy there, you're like, oh, this isn't going, he's going to save it. The model won't get confident. But then if it goes in, situations like this where you got a goal and the model didn't think usually indicate either an extremely high skill play where we shouldn't have expected it or a really bad move because this shouldn't have happened.
Edge cases. Yeah, and the ball was far and it wasn't really hit super hard and it still went in there, which no one would think that would go in. So that would be an interesting thing to like extrapolate out. Like, why did this mistake happen for the team? Like, what did we really do wrong here? What's going on?
Yeah, so I'll play that section for you so you get an idea. This is from about 250 seconds. Again, we would user facing, we would make it much easier to parse. But here it looks like Orange actually has the advantage early on. Now, sometimes it's just noise, but Orange had a slight lead. I mean, statistically, very low. So we'll just call it neutral. But then apparently Blue just goes whap, 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 done. So let's just see what happens by actually watching it. Bagoosh.
I mean, I guess they stole the ball from Orange and.
Yeah, it's right off kickoff. So, boom. Oh, demolition.
It's a demo.
And
That's unfortunate.
That's interesting.
So I'm not even sure.
It wasn't such a higher peak.
Well, let me see.
What was so surprising about this?
Let's take another look and see who actually hit the ball. Orange.
Yeah.
So
Maybe there was a
Orange.
chance
That's
that
why
he
it's
could
not a
have
higher
saved that,
peak.
but
Because
didn't get
Orange
back
had a
on
self
it.
goal.
There's no blue player near it either. It's just a ball traveling across a pretty.
The last person to touch it, you can see the streak of the ball. The last person to touch it was actually Orange.
And even
So,
even in games, people are going to say this is a fluke goal. Like if you're on a team and this happens to you, this is not a thing that damages the team's mental unless it's already bad, because it's fluke goal. It's like, what?
Yeah.
It just
Interesting.
happens, says
To me, sorry, Sean, say again.
It's just an unlucky chance,
Yep.
Yeah. But the nice thing about having a visual that is like this, or again, in the grand scheme of things, this is 0.2 scoring pressure. So 20 out of a possible 100, we'll say, scoring pressure. There was like very little pressure. I mean, if I'm, but the fact that we can see there was a goal here at such a low scoring pressure probably means someone got unlucky or something happened that probably shouldn't have happened, but it happened anyway. So even visually, if you were a coach and wanted to take this tool without anyone else kind of interpreting it for you, you could be like, oh, I'm going to just look at this graph and only look at the parts where it's low probability or low scoring pressure. And what the hell did my team do?
Yeah.
How did you let the hype meter down, man?
Joel, have it let it down.
I think goes for a nice transition here is you said it's a fluke goal and you wouldn't worry about it. And that almost gets into a sort of psychology here, which I think maybe the other graphs that you have will sort of, so if you think about it, you don't want that goal to contribute really to like Blue's overall pressure, right? Is anyone really applying more pressure, less pressure, more skillful? Like you said, that's just a fluke.
So there's multiple views of this. One of them is, I'll talk it through a little bit. This is the same thing, but it's essentially it's a little bit harder to wrap your head around, but it's more like who kind of had the scoring advantage throughout that match. So you can say, look, Orange was, they had 2 goals up and then Blue got a goal. So they had a little less. Orange had another. Blue. Okay, Blue had the massive pressure in this match. But I actually like the next view a little bit more. Which is this. It's like, I've called it team potential. We don't have like an in-house name for it really, but that's what we're going with. For the entirety of this match, Blue, based on the statistics, basically never had a chance. According to these statistics, Blue should not have won this. Orange should have won this.
Very interesting.
But you can see that when it comes to the actual advantage, it's totally different. Blue won the game. So in my mind, if I was a coach trying to teach someone based on this, and it is kind of statsy, so you'd have to wrap your head around how to use this, but it means Orange had way more opportunities, and somehow Blue were the ones who capitalized on the very few opportunities that they had.
almost like
Or
when you're
Orange had bad defense or something. I don't know.
And Blue got a lucky goal.
Yeah, multiple.
Yeah. That's just how that's well, even as a coach, you could say we had advantage here. Why didn't we execute on these? I mean, this is where the optimization comes in, right? Where it's like, okay, well, my team isn't getting good touches in these offensive opportunities. Let's now go and look. Why are we giving up? Yeah.
So to get a little bit nerdy on it, I can kind of talk through this because I love charts. Bye. Yes. So in the beginning of the game, you can let me put the goals back in. It's not perfect, but again, you're getting a peek behind the curtain here. As a reminder, Orange had the early goal here, 2 of them. Then Blue has a goal around this time. And then Orange has another goal. And then the rest of the game, there are no more Orange goals. So early on, what we can see is Orange is leading the game. They are telling this story. It is their game to lose for sure at this point, right? When you go from, let's just say the next few goals, again, if you were just looking at this team potential, like Orange is killing it, which makes sense because these are all the opportunities that Orange had. If you actually compare the amount of blue space where the line is in the blue section compared to where the line is in the orange section is there more often and with a greater potential for scoring. But just because you have a potential to score doesn't mean you're going to score. And this is the same story being played out over and over. Orange cannot close the deal here. Like they're getting so close to getting it, and then they're losing it, and they have a peak, and they lose it, peak, lose it, peak, lose it. And then I think what probably happened, whether it's psychological or otherwise, Blue probably realized partway through the game, we could probably capitalize on the fact that they're not closing the deal here, and maybe they may have switched their tactics.
They probably were more conservative, more defensive in their approach, and so they didn't necessarily lead with all the possession that Orange did, but their defensive approach allowed them to do more counterattacks, which is probably why you see like there's no advantage, and then all of a sudden they just score, like pretty quickly.
Yeah. So the way that, just 1 second, I could hear you breathing. You probably wanted to say something, but I have a very interesting analogy for this in terms of how to understand the team potential. Yeah. And I would think of it like at the start of the game, like everyone has hopefully played tug of war. You have 2 teams that are, let's just assume that they're equally matched to begin with. And just like Rocket League, that's not always the case. They're not evenly matched all the time, but you have the little flag in the center. And if they were perfectly evenly matched, this height meter or the scoring pressure or the team potential would be perfectly flat. But what's happening is that the orange team is just tugging the shit out of it in the beginning. And then blue is like, we got to get it back. So it's pulling back. And orange is still resisting. But at the end of the game, they're just dominating. And orange didn't give up, which in terms of coaching the orange team, I would say, look, you had some unlucky times. I'd probably zoom in on the point of the replay and watch those things back, which, spoiler alert, if and when we put out this height meter, we will also be putting out a visualizer. So you can watch the game at the same time. And then at the end of the game, orange wasn't just sitting there, on their hands. They were still applying pressure, but they couldn't close the deal. So unfortunately for that game, orange just wasn't meant to win.
Is team potential focused on like a holistic view? Is it like offensively focused more? Are you able to talk a little bit about it?
It's essentially based on it's actually just, if you look at the scoring chart, the scoring pressure, it's essentially, if you apply more pressure, we're calling it, you have more potential. We can call it team pressure as well. Yeah. Same idea. I like to call it potential because just because you had the potential to score overall doesn't mean that you actually capitalized.
Yes. Yeah.
So we could call it scoring potential as well, but really it's a small distinction, but
it is interesting.
If you're pressuring someone, it also probably means you have the potential to score, but it's just, I don't know. It feels better to have scoring pressure in this view. And team potential in the other.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. It's interesting because a lot of what I saw, or not a lot, but some of what I saw, Orange did have good pressure. Like if I was playing or coaching them, I would say the pressure was good, but blue was getting in the way of their shots a lot. So I'm curious how that might play into what's going on. If that would be a different graph entirely, like it's interesting.
I really think that it has to come down to a defensive approach, like taking a more counter-attack approach rather than an offensive scoring approach.
You know, Orange had some bad shots in there too, but
yeah.
Well, I'd like to see, I mean, let me see. If I scrub a little bit further in the replay, just to this later round, I'm assuming you can see where I'm scrubbing this to.
I do, yeah. Yep.
Can you see my mouse?
You see your mouse?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So this is the beginning of a round. And again, this is probably a goal. I can't remember exactly. But Orange seems to be the ones to take it away. And then again, blue just nail it. And then for what I think is the last round, I'm calling in between goals rounds, by the way. I know it's not like standard terminology, but in my mind, for reading this, like every kickoff is a chance to kind of redeem yourself. And I'm calling those moments between goals rounds. Yeah. Because it's a nice way to just compartmentalize. And it looks like for this round I'm about to show you, Orange is doing okay until blue does excellent. And then for the following round, Orange is just trying to hammer it away. And again, blue takes it at the end. So we'll watch that and see if the height meter is correct. Yeah. If the story I just told matches what happens in the game, we know our meter's working.
Yes.
If it doesn't, it's not. So the proof is in the pudding. Let's see what happens.
Blue's going to quickly get this.
Yeah. So Orange should still have a pretty decent chance of applying pressure here, which they did. It was in the blue zone. And then, blue just absolutely demoed.
Yeah. to be real, that teammate shouldn't have been there on Orange team. He definitely let he shouldn't have been there.
The swing moment from Orange to blue is very telling.
Yep.
We've found that with the height meter, basically any steep cliff is interesting, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It means that someone maybe figuratively or literally dropped the ball.
Yep. Yeah. Well, it's funny.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Right. So like Orange, I'll do my last little narration. Orange should have it, and then it gets denied. Still, Orange should have pressure now, and then after this point, right now, it's going to be blue for the rest of the game.
Orange is losing it
mentally. No. There's some blue. There's some orange there, but blue, quickly takes over after this point.
Oh my, that's nasty. That is nasty.
It's totally just defensive counterattacks. That's really what's going on there.
Yeah. So if you're going to put this into an archetype, you could say, hey, this is a defensive, because even in professional Rocket League, like NRG was famous for this over the last season, where they would get the ball, they'd get one goal, and then they would just like be defensive. And so it would look like the other team had pressure, but in truth, they were just mechanically better than their opponents and were able to just like withstand, which is kind of what we're seeing with blue here. That was a good defensive stand at the end by blue. They didn't panic at all. So we see the meter there. It's a lot of pressure by the orange.
So it goes to show just how important defensive, play in a defensive game is compared to.
You can win playing defensively,
Exactly. Counterattacks, defensive, let them shoot on you, but just, be good at saving, and you can make a lot of really good plays.
Capitalize on them losing the ball, So you have a
double commit, wait for a double commit, and then attack,
So clearly, if I was to like do a one-liner on this, orange team, very aggressive, probably, certainly more aggressive than the blue team.
Yes,
they have the vast bulk of the scoring pressure, and in this case, team potential, potato. But no one says potato, probably. Potato.
They do now. They do now. Yeah,
they do now. But blue won without it. They won without just like quick, intense bursts of scoring pressure. And like for me, again, this isn't in a product ready state, but like Rob and I were just nerding out on this stuff so hard that we just had to share it.
You could extract like archetypes from this. There's ways to get profiles now, because like an aggressive play style that results in a win is a good thing in that case. And it'd be interesting to like do an additional layer of processing where it's like, okay, this archetype has won with this style, and then this archetype has won with a contrasting style. How do they line up against each other? This is where you get like an RLCS level.
Snipers, right?
Yeah.
Like they're just sit back, wait, get that opportunity. Orange basically had pressure, control, whatever you want to call it, the whole game, and they lost massively. So it's not like who's going to win, right? It's more subtle.
Yeah. And I think like who's going to win is, yeah, I mean, you probably could pull that out, but again, that's not, that's not
cool
like where the most interesting stuff is.
What's cool about this is like I can see this being like almost used in almost any kind of game situation or anything. Like if you watch like any sporting event, right? There's usually the commentators and they're talking about it, and they always talk about how like teams are applying pressure and doing all these things, and like this is basically a data analysis showing exactly that sort of commentary of, who has the advantage and who has the pressure, who has the ball, who's been attacking more, and then who's been defensive more. And it's really cool. Yep. These guys did an amazing job at this because it really does reflect like what's going on in the game. And I could definitely see how this could translate into like just being a tool for coaches.
Yep.
Right. I mean, look at this chart. And I have a feeling that even not being on this data science team and just being someone I've now explained how this works, you could probably tell me a pretty decent story about what happened at this game. Yeah. And what really, like, not to toot my own horn too much or our horns.
Do it. That's what's here. That's what we're here for. Do it.
Oh yeah, no.
We'll do it for you.
Yeah.
The way that I would say it is like really what we've been provided in the past at best is this.
Yep. Yes, I agree.
You have goal, save, goal. Like that's nothing.
Doesn't really mean anything
compared to what we can give. Again, if I'm going full horn toot here.
Yes.
Because you're saying, look, there's a goal. All right, what happened in this round? Orange, then blue, then orange, then a bit of blue, and then massive orange. Okay, so that something happened here where orange took it away suddenly. So probably a mistake on the blue team, if I had to guess, or a breakaway of some kind. Right?
Yeah, it could be
Next
a lucky goal, but
it could be a lucky goal. Yeah. But same deal. Absolutely nothing going on. Probably just one-off kickoff.
Yep.
If I had to guess.
Yep.
And then going on the next round, from here to here, a little more interesting. You have to kind of mentally put a center line here, but you have the tug of war, right? Blue, then orange, then blue, a lot of blue, and then a big orange, and then back to kind of a battle of wills, and then they took it. So probably a pretty evenly matched team if this kind of center line here is being played around with a lot. Like if you're flirting with that center line, you've got a pretty decent battle going on. You know? If it's totally flat, it probably means it's a boring game.
Yes.
If you have this jiggle party going on, it's probably an exciting game, right?
A jiggle party.
No quotes. No quotes.
And so you did mention this, but like ball chasing stats or any kind of common publicly available tools are going to be the kind of blank lineless graph. It's just like an unconnected graph, I guess, of just like goals, even like time spent in offensive half, whatever. That's not really super interesting. It is interesting when you see the team potential aspect you have here and the scoring pressure. Like that is what people are interested in, and that's what people have kind of been asking for a long time. Unfortunately, these are not easy things to create. I mean, you have to train a model to get this information, or you go through by hand. But even for a new player, like say we're not a coach, say I'm just an individual player trying to learn the game, we have this first step, but maybe the intuitive next step is, okay, we'll just automatically show these kind of moments that are interesting, that we think are interesting. And you can say, your team got counterattacked here. Looks like what happened. Let's take a look and see where you were. Did you overcommit? Whatever. So there's like not a big leap from this graph to Mansell, a voice line in Mansell, effectively saying, you drove a little too close to your teammate here.
Review time, right?
Yep.
Like reviewing sucks, right? Like I've played chess, I've played Dota, and everyone tells you what you need to do is go watch that 45-minute game you just played.
Yes.
And you go, ew, no, I think I'll just be bad.
Yeah.
If we were to say, be able to extract those specific moments where, look, this is where you drop the ball the most. So you just had a, hour-long session. You don't want to go review every game. You don't want to review everything, but here's like our 4 key takeaways. And then people might actually do it.
Yep.
I've saved a ton of time in analysis, and I could even see like a tool way to kind of string all these various clips together that say like, here's where all the pressure was really good, here's where things weren't, and you kind of clip up a bunch of clips together to kind of give a report that somebody could go through that's a whole lot quicker than an actual full match.
Yeah, and so, not knowing what to look for in a replay, this shows you like you get some experience here, and you can probably actually learn by looking at this graph. I kept doing this here, rather than I'm just a guy looking at replays because everyone told me to on Reddit, and now I don't really know what I'm looking for. So I think,
I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, all you. All you. You got it.
I think if I'm not a coach, but I am an educator. But like, if I was to be a betting man, I would say there is one very interesting point of this chart for me, and that would be what happened here. What happened for that orange to be applying? You can even call it a total aggression. I mean, like the terminology is up in the air. It's more just what lens do you want to look at this through? But like, orange was being aggressive off the bat, and then blue, but it's early days. You can't really say who's really pushing. And you'd say, all right, orange was apparently maybe not playing better, but being more aggressive and had more chances to be able to score. So their potential was quite high, but something was happening to bring it down. And generally speaking, that means blue is playing better or has more chances. So when you look at this, from 74 seconds to 120 seconds, what was going on? Well, not much. And then blue started taking out of their back pocket, I guess, and then orange tried to fight back, and then you have this massive pressure by blue that's just like, let's see if they had any goals there. No goals, no demos. They had a save there, but
ooh, nice.
I have a feeling that, again, this is a section of the replay I would want to review. And unfortunately, we don't have it set up to review this particular game right now. But I bet you want to.
Yes, I do.
Because
I do.
You're like, dude, what's going on there? And you want to watch the replay, right? And it gives you something to hopefully get a little bit excited about as a coach and as a player.
Yeah.
So that you can get direction. And it it's not straight up gamifying the review process, but you get things that you can hone in on. And I can pretty much guarantee that if you spent a long time looking at these charts, you'll start to see repeating patterns.
Yeah. Yep.
Of what type of things happen. And one more, I guess I'm allowed to say this, one more little peek behind the curtain. We've already started training models that can use the knowledge from this chart to pick out types of events down to the accuracy of this player on this team was driving in this direction and hit the ball at this time and missed the ball to the left of the net.
Nice.
So just based on the meter itself. So that's pretty exciting.
Oh,
yeah, just on the meter.
What?
I mean, I call it a meter. It's like, obviously we have a model and we have outputs, but not everything is light of day, but
that's pretty.
We got big ideas.
I could also see like in a situation where you have like, a Rocket League team and there's a coach who's analyzing and all this and trying to figure out what happened during this time. Like, why did we lose this? And then the player being like, oh, that's that moment where I got totally distracted by, something going on behind me or whatever. And something hit me in the face or whatever while I was playing the game or whatever. It's just like be able to kind of add additional context that may not be recorded in the data. Say like, that's the moment where I got demoed and then I totally lost my train of thought where I was. I got confused, whatever. Like you could then take that and pull out even more information through the analysis process with the team, like as a team session review kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So as a fingerprint, I think we talked about that, right? If you had a list of like 50 games and just their dates, you might struggle to tell which one is which. But if you could just see the little graph underneath, there's a very good chance, especially if you were like taking this very seriously at a tournament or something, you'd be like, oh yeah, that one where we pulled it back right at the end. Yeah, good game.
Yeah. Like in my mind, it's almost like, you look at your spark lines for stocks and it's like, it went up. Oh, it went up and then really went down.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk to my wife about my finances today. You have this. This is the fingerprint of the match. And then every match kind of has their own thing. But you're like, oh, yeah, that's that game where I was orange. And things didn't go so well for us at the end there. Yeah,
I just
you guys taking like very limited data and kind of being able to pull out like this type of analysis from limited data, or do we have like a ton of data that's actually being provided in the files?
You mean like
about that parser?
much did we need to train something like this?
Like to get to something like this where it has this much information that you can pull out of it, like where if you look at it, it's only a few goals, it's only a few demos or whatever, a few saves, like from the replay file, like are you getting a lot of more information than just those basic stats, or like how,
more than goals, demos, and saves? I mean, we're getting lots. Yes.
Oh, there's a lot more telemetry type data and stuff in there too. Okay.
We have loads.
Got our own.
Got hundreds of thousands of replays, and we've got many, many things in those replay files that we're using to support it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
that's the kind of sense
deep.
So it's a lot deeper than just pulling out data of goals and demos or saves, like the basic kind of like things that we all see.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot more data you're getting that you're able to analyze.
It's even beyond like what ball chasing pulls out too. It's like I think Rob, you mentioned it earlier, Rob, where we're extracting more data from sim racing info than we are possibly serving up right now. And I imagine it's the same for Rocket League. Like there's more info we capture than we're maybe necessarily even using, or maybe we are. I'm sure in the models at some level you use a lot of it, but yeah.
Well, there's some like tips and tricks and stuff that you can use, right? Like models train better if you do some feature engineering and you feed them. So, like in theory, all the model needs to look at is like every player's position and every player's velocity, and then it could figure out anything in theory. But if you tell it certain things like, hey, we're going to include an extra column of just the Euclidean distance from the ball to the goal, right? That helps things.
Yep.
So we've added a lot of extra stuff. That's where the secret sauce is. If you hook up a replay to a model without doing all this stuff, you probably won't get that's why it takes all the time it takes.
Yeah, and well, it takes minds like yours too. I think it's hard to understate how important it is to have people who know what's going on. And I don't know what competitors have going on in their teams and staff, but I think probably there aren't so many teams out there that have the same amount of competent people on them that we do. Or I shouldn't say that. Competency is a range it's a gradient or whatever, but we have some very skilled people here, and the experience comes from all parts of life, right? It's not just gaming that like people are smart.
I will say, I don't disagree with you. Yeah. I think there's a lot of people working hard, but I think a big difference is we have a lot of people working hard full time.
Yeah, full time.
This isn't just a passion project. This is a actual business that is doing this. And like whether you have good days and bad, but you go in and you work away in the data mines to try and get the gold, right?
Yep. And trying to translate what the community says. Yeah, it's just crazy.
They have a benefit of that sort of ability to have a focused team and focused effort on one thing and get paid for it.
I would add that I think gaming still isn't taken very seriously yet,
yes.
Right? This level of statistical data, machine learning rigor that we're applying, if we were the same guys trying to do this on like finance, we couldn't compete with Wall Street to live our lives. But even people we talk to at big conventions, they go, gaming? You make money from that? Like,
yes.
It's like the number of people I've said, do you know that there are coaches for video games?
Can you believe it?
That's crazy.
Can you imagine a world where we have coaches for video games? And they're, it's amazing that I can still have those conversations, and people are just shocked. They're like paid coaches that do this for kind of a living, right?
Yeah.
So it's not as, and then for our benefit, it's not as
bigger than Hollywood.
Much bigger. Yeah. Imagine what Fortnite makes or something. It's crazy.
And especially with a lot of some of the AI sort of world generation stuff that's going to come into the games as well, being able to kind of give someone almost like a completely unique experience every time they play is going to be so immersive that it's not something you're going to get from movies and stuff, you know, because you're actually exploring a world.
Yeah. I have thoughts on that one.
Yes, there's a lot of thoughts.
I agree. I do agree with an aspect of that. In fact, I agree with all of it, but I also have a part of my brain that doesn't, which is that a lot of what I get out of the games that I play, even if it is generated, it's the ability to share those experiences with other people.
Yeah.
So if it is perfectly generated, just even if it's the most amazing, unique experience for me, like I don't even think I'd get as much out of it as if I could at least be streaming it or be sharing it with someone else, because I think I kind of get too much in my head about it. I'm like, this is just a generated thing just for me, but like the joy for me is to do it with other people.
Talk about, hey, that one part with that, you know, with that other. But
I thrive on a little bit of consistency too. So like a little bit of predictability can go a long way. So like, I think we're actually quite far from having a gaming experience where that, you know what the good analogy is the very early open world games that were so open world that you felt like you didn't know what to do ever.
Yes.
It's like you can do anything, and they're like, but I don't know what to do with all this power.
So where do I go first?
Minecraft is a good example of that, right? Where you're just like in the world. There's no way you're going to know about the end state of the game just from if you're a new person in that game. It's very much like a build your own. And that's why we see a lot of good mods for that game, by the way. Like there's like, well, okay, I'm going to make computers in Minecraft, or I'm going to make, and that's how you get Factorio after that. So a lot of good.
The thing is like, I think you'll get different levels of it, and you'll get different styles of games. Like there's different genres of games out there now. There are games that are very much more story mode driven, and you don't really do a whole lot. It's more just about the actions you take. And then there are other games that it's all about, you know, fast action. And so I just think that like you'll get a much greater range of games, and you know, especially if you're like a big streamer or something and you play this like unique game, and it is perfectly curated to you, like you could share that experience in a way, and you know, that no one else could really appreciate unless they're watching it with you. It just can create different types of, I don't know, I just think it will expand the gaming world.
Yeah, if nothing else, I think it's pretty clear we can all say it provides a much more vast opportunity for different experiences, new experiences, good or bad. But certainly a whole new landscape of possibility, which I think generally is a good thing.
We'll get more ideas. So the barrier to entry is going to go down.
Power that, the cream will rise to the top. You know?
It will. It always does. Okay, I think I would love to keep talking to you guys. Obviously, like we could. It's just interesting. The topics we get to touch on, even data science alone touches on a lot of aspects of humanity, understanding how human beings do things or how systems work in general. We could keep talking, but I don't want to take up more of your guys' time than we already have, which is an hour and a half. Pretty good. If you guys are liking what you're hearing, sign up for Trophy. Come back.
Were there any? I'm not watching any chat or anything. Were there any questions of any kind? Is anyone watching?
We had one early on. I don't have a viewer count right now.
Yeah, hadn't been many questions today.
We had one early on about the spike after the goal, which we got. But I think, well, we're going to turn this into like content later too. So this will be, these background things are amazing. Oh, Hamud's here. He says, "Hi, Scott."
Hamud. Hi.
Yes, welcome. So sign up for Trophy. If you're seeing this, we have a Black Friday deal right now, but if you see this after, sign up anyway, or at least come to the Discord, come hang out. You'll get to interact with, I think, Scott, you hop into the Discord? Well, yeah, both of you. Okay.
I pretty much read every message. I don't
You're locked.
But I do literally read every message.
Amazing.
In the Discord.
Yeah, and the devs are, I would say in general, the community is pretty good, or the Trophy, the organization is good at doing that. We usually are like observing stuff. So you'll get to interact with all of us. Thank you guys, Scott, Rob. it's really amazing that you shared this what is a developer tool right now. But for me, it's extremely exciting. Like the level of thought that you guys are doing, hopefully it's encouraging to people who are passionate about Trophy, but also passionate about like Rocket League, where there's some people say some stagnation going on. It's a game that's been out for 10 years, so it's what's going on. But there are still amazing tools being developed, some of which are by us here. So with that, I'm going to probably transition to the screen, but thanks you guys, and we will sign off. Bye-bye.